Buddhism is an integral part of Korean culture, and Korea has made unique and significant contributions to Buddhism. Travel to South Gyeongsang Province, to Mount Kyasan, and you'll find Haeinsa, a 1,200-year-old Buddhist temple and monastery. Built in 802 CE by the monks of the Hwam school of Buddhism, Haeinsa is one of the 3 jewel temples of Korea. Its architectural form, renovated and expanded numerous times over the centuries, is meant to serve as a physical representation of the teachings of Buddha. Even the name Haeinsa, which translates directly to Ocean Seal Temple, is a direct reference to the deep state of enlightenment entered into by Sakyamuni Buddha. The visitor's journey up Mount Kyasan and into the temple grounds mimics the soul's journey towards enlightenment. As one ascends, one passes rows of inscribed stone tablets, monuments to those who have gone before, the master monks who, over the centuries, have taught and lived the words of Buddha on this very mountainside. 3 gates, named Iljumun, Bonghwangmun, and Hetalmun, have special significance in delineating the stages on the passage to a world free of secular concerns. Iljumun, or single pillar gate, is a simple structure that marks the boundary between the secular and non-secular worlds. The second gate, Bonghwangmun, is more ornate and houses representations of the 4 heavenly kings, each of whom watches over one cardinal point on the compass. It represents the halfway point up Mount Sumeru, the world mountain in Buddhist cosmology. The final gate, Hetalmun, symbolizes the gate at the summit of Mount Sumeru and opens into a world free of secular concerns. Other monasteries sometimes call this gate Bulimun, the gate of non-duality, to evoke the oneness of everything in the universe. Now we are inside the temple grounds. The floor of the first courtyard contains a maze-like diagram. The diagram and poem were created around the late 600s by Master Oisang, an abbot of the Shilla period. The poem reaffirms the concepts of the Flower Garland Sutra, as does the shape of the diagram. Devotees reaffirm these concepts by walking the path of the diagram while chanting the poem. The outer courtyard of the temple also hosts 4 ceremonial percussion instruments common to Buddhist temples. They are sounded 3 times a day by the monks of Haeinsa for the Buddhist call to prayer. When the temple bell is rung, it is believed that the sound brings relief to souls in hell. The drum is to awaken both the living and the dead and call them to worship the Buddha. The wooden fish alerts the inhabitants of the oceans, lakes, and rivers, and the gong calls to all the creatures of the air. The outer courtyard also hosts a 6-meter-tall stone pagoda, which is one of the essential elements of the structure of a Buddhist temple. Built during the 9th century, it is one of the largest existing examples of pagoda architecture from the Shilla period. Haeinsa also houses numerous Buddhist treasures, including sculptures, stone lanterns, and paintings. So rich is Haeinsa in archaeological material that researchers are still finding amazing artifacts. In 2004, researchers rediscovered 2 statues of Vairochana Buddha that had been stored in separate areas of the temple for hundreds of years. When they looked inside the figures, researchers found inscriptions that indicated that they were a pair commissioned by Queen Jinsong of the Shilla dynasty over 1,000 years ago. One had been sculpted in the queen's likeness, the other in the likeness of her lover. Together, they symbolized the queen's hope that she would be reunited with him in the afterlife. Deep within the palace grounds, however, lies Haeinsa's most priceless treasure, the Tripitaka Koreana, a set of 81,258 hand-carved woodblocks, which are used to print a comprehensive canon of Buddhist treatises, laws, and scriptures. In the early 13th century, the Mongols, who had already conquered Central Asia, were poised to invade Korea. The Korean king Kojong of the Goryeo dynasty wished to invoke the power of Buddha in the coming fight. Work was begun in 1236 by a team of about 30 monks and took 16 years to complete. An earlier Tripitaka was destroyed in a previous invasion, but this Tripitaka has survived. Today, it is the world's oldest comprehensive canon of Buddhist writings. So comprehensive, in fact, that the Tripitaka Koreana has served as the basis for Japanese, Chinese, and Taiwanese editions of Buddhist doctrine. The wooden printing plates are an amazing feat of craftsmanship as well as religious scholarship. Over 750 years after their creation, the wooden blocks of the Tripitaka are in excellent condition. Cut from southern Korean birch, the lumber used for the Tripitaka was first soaked in seawater for 3 years to harden it, then exposed to wind for another 3 years to weather it, before the monks began carving. Each block was coated with a poisonous lacquer to ward off insects and framed with metal brackets to prevent warping. The Tripitaka Koreana is stored in a specially created 15th century depository known as the Cheonggyeonggak, where the monks of Haeinsa take just as much care in storing the Tripitaka Koreana as was taken in their creation. Visitors to the Cheonggyeonggak may notice a shadow in the shape of a lotus flower, a sacred Buddha symbol projected on the ground in front of them, a hint of the treasures contained within. Underneath the floorboards, builders placed layers of salt, charcoal, sand, lime, and clay. This mixture stabilizes the humidity of the storage rooms by absorbing moisture during wet seasons and releasing it during dry seasons. In addition, a series of carefully placed windows serves as a sophisticated ventilation system. On the south walls, windows on the top are smaller than at the bottom. The pattern is reversed for the north-facing walls. This system ensures a steady stream of air through the storage rooms at all times. While the temple and monastery of Haeinsa safeguard the priceless relics and teachings of the past, Haeinsa also remains a vital and active place of worship and study in the center of Korean Buddhism going into the 21st century.